Welcome to Hacking Your Leadership. I'm Chris.
And I'm Lorenzo.
And welcome to this week's Thoughtful Thursday. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Hacking Your Leadership and leave us a review on iTunes. Also, make sure you check out our Patreon and YouTube pages. They're in the podcast description below. Today on Thoughtful Thursday, what I want to talk about is recognition of your people and how public or not public that needs to be. There's kind of been this rising tide of public recognition on places like LinkedIn. I know that when I was in, my teens and my early 20s, the idea of public recognition was like, my leader got up on a, morning meeting on a Saturday and said, Chris is the best salesperson for the month or whatever it is. And that was public recognition. When Facebook first started, LinkedIn first started, if my leader was doing that, I would have thought it was kind of weird. It doesn't seem so weird anymore. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that I've seen it, over the last few years here, especially on LinkedIn, but other platforms as well. Mostly LinkedIn, though, is just this overwhelming element of positive public recognition for both employees and leaders. I mean, at this point right now, LinkedIn has added it into their posting where you can welcome somebody to the team. You can give kudos. You can talk about a work anniversary. There's a lot of things that you can do in there. And I see some of those kind of defaults pop up and just, highlighting somebody's name and saying that they think that they're a great leader or they're celebrating some type of a milestone. But then I've seen a lot more pictures recently, and I think over 2020 and so, where pictures of people with their families and talking about the value they bring to the organization or to the team and things like that. And again, I think people like to receive recognition in different ways, but I like this trend. I think it's a great trend. I think it's something that is helping to inspire other leaders of other organizations to think about how and where they recognize their people. So I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think this is happening when it comes to public recognition of close friends and mostly family members too. Like I've seen a rise in posts from people posting a picture of their spouse or their partner or their whole family saying, I got a lot accomplished over 2020, and I thought this was going to be a lot more difficult to incorporate work life and home life and personal life and all this stuff. I wouldn't have been able to do it without these people. And it's like a picture of their family. And I thought, well, that seems, normal. That seems like, okay, like a something you'd want to say. And there's been a rise of that on LinkedIn, whereas a few years ago, you wouldn't have seen a lot of that. That would have been considered not work related. And so it's kind of a mix of those things. And also all the way up to, even C-suite leaders with, they do a visit with the local branch or the local store, and it's a picture of them with the employee. And I would say, 2 or 3 years ago, whenever I'd see a picture like that, it was posted by the employee. Oh, so-and-so came and visited my location, and I'm so happy to work for such a great leader. It's like, yeah, I get it, but they're almost name dropping. They're almost like, look who I got to take a picture with, which is fine. I'm not dissing that at all.
I've done that.
Yeah, right,
yeah, go ahead. Continue.
But when the leader does it, and the leader posts and says, I visited this place or this store, and look who I met, and this is what this person said to me. I mean, that kind of recognition is something that is it wasn't as common a few years ago, and it's becoming more common. And I think as long as the employee knows that it's happening and is okay with it and likes it, I don't see anything bad about it at all. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a great trend. I think it's I think it's helpful in defining the values of the leader and the organizations that they work for. So my question to you, right, is just around what if you want to do this for your team? What are the proper steps, or what are the ways to do it? Do you just blindly post it and tag them? Do you talk to them ahead of time? Like how do you navigate some of that to make sure that the person is getting the recognition in a way that they appreciate? So I'll tease that out there. But first, a word from one of our sponsors. Okay, Chris, so the question is, if you are going to go out there and publicly recognize somebody on a social media platform, what's the advice that you would give to a leader, or what are the things they should be considering before they go and they post about this person and provide them with recognition?
Right, so as a married man, I would say that I wouldn't even post a picture. I know what pictures of my wife she'll like and which ones she would not like. But it doesn't matter. I still have to ask first. I still have to say, hey, this is the one I'm thinking about using. What do you think of this one? And get kind of like that seal of approval. Because I know that if the first time she sees it is a notification, Chris tagged you on Instagram, the pit in her stomach is going to be, oh my gosh, I hope it's a good picture. That's what she's going to be thinking. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want even that moment of unease. And so I think, regardless of who the person is, you check with them first. You maybe you ask them to take a picture and, hey, send me the picture you want to use, and I'll put it out there. Give them the opportunity to kind of decline if they want to decline, kind of read the body language and feel it out a little bit as far as whether or not it's appropriate to do. But in general, I think it's a positive thing. I don't think you'll find a lot of people who would say no to their CEO or someone else in high up in a leadership role in an organization posting something on LinkedIn, recognizing them for the work they do. I think a lot of people would see that as a very positive thing, especially if you have a presence on LinkedIn and you have an account and you want to be seen on LinkedIn. But again, it's about communication. It's about making sure that people understand that they're coming along for the ride. The surprise of like, oh, look what I'm going to do for this person. I'm going to post about this. It might land positively 9 out of 10 times, but the one that it doesn't is not worth the risk. And so, yeah, definitely communication. Bring them along and make sure that it's something that they're comfortable with. I think you can't go wrong that way.
Yeah, I think another thing that can be considerate of is like, what is their engagement on social media platforms and like those types of things. Like, I think that if, there's the part of it where like, are you following people that you work with or work for? Are they following you on certain threads? LinkedIn seems to be a little bit easier in regards to the way that it's laid out to be able to provide recognition, but those things matter too. And if if you're not seeing people active on a social media platform, if they're not on LinkedIn, if they're not tagging things or constantly talking about stuff like that, like these are all little things to kind of keep an eye out for, because those can be clues to whether or not somebody feels comfortable in engaging in kind of that element of recognition out there. There's still a lot of people that are very private, that don't talk about work outside of work and things like that, for a multitude of different types of reasons. So I think that, to your point, the communication and allowing them to kind of curate a little bit, whether it's the image itself or maybe, hey, here's what I'm thinking about saying, are you cool with that? Like those types of permissions, I think are critical to not only being able to provide the recognition publicly, but show respect for the person in a way that allows them to feel good about not just the post, but about the partnership and the collaboration around what might actually go out into the world.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think that the thing that they're getting recognition for has to have substance to it. It can't just be, I spent some time in stores today and met some great people, and it's a picture with that person. I see a lot of that too. And I'm not saying there's anything inherently wrong with it, but to me, what that says is this is a leader who's trying to get recognition for spending time with entry-level employees or line-level employees. If you want to use this as a recognition tool for your people, I think you need to have a conversation with a person, talk about the work that they're doing, find something that is actually worth recognizing, that is in spirit of the broader mission or vision of the organization. And if you can't find it with that person, move on to a different person. Find and look around until you find somebody who does espouse the vision and the mission of the organization in their daily work and their daily activities, and then talk about that, articulate what that mission is and what this person is doing in spirit of that mission. I think that goes a lot further than just, hey, I met some great people and it's a smiling picture. I don't see that as recognition. I see that as almost self-promotion.
Yeah, I think it's a great point to consider. What exactly are you recognizing and why? And who? I think all those things matter as well, because again, if it's something that you can't do with everybody all the time, and if it's something that's supposed to be special, then you also want people to look at that, if you're a leader of people, and point to and say like, okay, well, that's what I should be doing as well, or like that's the level of work that I should be showing up with, or those are the things that I should be prioritizing, because that's how they're going to read into that as well. And also being conscious that if you're going to recognize somebody who's doing good at something, that you better be recognizing people that are doing great at something. Be very clear about that and be conscious of that, because that's something that can come across as like out of touch or not highlighting those that are doing really, really good work. You try to be careful of those types of things.
Right. I think where this benefits an organization as a whole is there are leaders out there who I think they don't necessarily want to tout something that is fantastic that speaks to who they are as a person, because then they're going to be held to that standard. The leaders that are okay with that are the ones that say, hey, you know what? I need to hold my own feet to the fire. And by hoisting up people who I think espouse this, or that speak to the bigger mission, or that the work that they're doing is in line with my personal values as a leader in this organization, the more I can highlight that, the more I am telling myself I can't rest. I can't stop doing this kind of thing, because that's when my values go out the window, or that's when I stop, doing things in spirit of what these values are. I think the more you hoist people up for doing these things, I think the easier it is to really have a clear vision of what your North Star is as a leader, and to make sure that the decisions you're making and that the strategies that you're implementing are in spirit of that, because you will end up coming off like a hypocrite if the work that you're doing is not in spirit of this after you spent all this time recognizing people for doing this thing. So yeah, I think anytime leaders can do this, it holds their own feet to the fire. It drives the organization in a positive way, as long as it comes from a good place.
Absolutely. And with that, it brings us to the end of this episode. This is Hacking Your Leadership. I'm Lorenzo.
And I'm Chris.
And have a great day.